Hello everyone and welcome to this introduction to pharmacometrics. In this video we'll discuss what pharmacometrics is and why it has become an important part of modern drug development. My name is Ahmed Al-Muqaddim and I have worked in pharmacometrics, quantitative pharmacology and drug development for several years across a variety of therapeutic areas. Now with that introduction out of the way, let's get started. So what exactly is pharmacometrics? Well, let me tell you that one of the biggest challenges of being a pharmacometrician is actually explaining what pharmacometrics is to people who are not familiar with the concept, especially family members. So let's give it a try. Pharmacometrics had many definitions over the years, and this is one that I believe really gets the gist of the field. In this definition, pharmacometrics is the branch of science concerned with mathematical models of biology, pharmacology, disease, and physiology, used to describe and quantify interactions between xenobiotics, which are substances foreign to the body, and patients, including beneficial effects and side effects resulting from such interactions. You can see from this definition the interdisciplinary nature of pharmacometrics as it brings together different areas of science. The pharmacometrics tree has many branches, including pharmacokinetics or PK, which deals with what happens to the drug once it enters the body, pharmacodynamics or PD, which deals with how the drug affects the body, pharmacokinetics pharmacodynamics or PKPD, which combines these two disciplines to provide a comprehensive understanding of the drug's behavior and effects over time, physiologically based pharmacokinetics or PBPK, which uses models to predict drug behavior based on physiology, and quantitative systems pharmacology or QSP, which uses models to predict drug actions within biological systems. This isn't an exhaustive list in any way, but it gives you a sense of the main areas within pharmacometrics. Okay, now let's ask the question, why is pharmacometrics important? Why should we care? Well, pharmacometrics has many benefits since it's used to optimize drug dosing, improve drug development efficiency, and accelerate regulatory approval. So let's break these down. Pharmacometrics helps optimize drug dose and dosing schedule by combining patient data with mathematical and statistical models to guide treatment decisions. Many drugs have a narrow margin between being ineffective and causing unwanted side effects. Determining the right dose is therefore a critical part of both drug development and patient care. However, identifying the right dose is not straightforward because patients are not all the same. Factors such as age, body weight, organ function, genetics, and disease state can all influence how a patient responds to a drug. As a result, the same dose may not produce the same response in every patient. The challenge is to identify a dosing strategy that keeps drug exposure within the therapeutic window, high enough to achieve the desired therapeutic effect, but low enough to minimize toxicity. By accounting for patient variability, pharmacometric models help predict drug response and support the selection of safer and more effective dosing regimens. Pharmacometrics improves the efficiency of drug development by integrating data, biology, and mathematical models to guide decision making throughout the development process. Developing a new medicine is a long, complex, and expensive undertaking that can take more than a decade from discovery to regulatory approval. By helping researchers predict how drugs are likely to behave in different populations and under different conditions, pharmacometrics enables more informed decisions earlier in development. One important application is model-informed drug development, or MIDD, where pharmacometric models can be used to analyze clinical data, evaluate alternative development strategies, and simulate clinical trials before they are conducted. These insights help guide decisions such as dose selection, study design, and the identification of promising drug candidates. By reducing reliance on trial and error approaches, pharmacometrics can help shorten development timelines, reduce costs, and improve the likelihood of successful drug development. Pharmacometrics can accelerate regulatory approval by providing quantitative evidence to support drug development and regulatory decision making. Regulatory agencies increasingly rely on pharmacometric analyses to evaluate safety, efficacy, and appropriate use of new medicines. These analyses help sponsors justify dosing recommendations, evaluate special patient populations, and address important questions that may be difficult to answer through clinical studies alone. By supporting more informed regulatory decisions, pharmacometrics can help bring effective therapies to patients more quickly. Ultimately, this means that patients may gain earlier access to safe and effective treatments, improving health outcomes and public health. Now that we've talked about why pharmacometrics is important, let's take a quick look at its history and how the field has developed. Between 1950 and 1970, the foundations of pharmacometrics were established through the development of PK and PD. Scientists began quantifying how drugs move through the body and how these drug concentrations relate to therapeutic effects. These concepts laid the groundwork for the mathematical models that would later become central to pharmacometrics. During the 1970s, a major milestone occurred with the work of Louis Scheiner and Stuart Beal, who are widely considered pioneers of pharmacometrics. Their development of the NonMem software platform made it possible to analyze drug data from populations rather than individual subjects alone. Combined with advances in computing and statistics, this helped transform pharmacometrics into a practical scientific discipline. During the 1980s, pharmacometrics began to gain broader recognition as a distinct field. The term pharmacometrics appeared as a special section in the Journal of Pharmacokinetics and Biopharmaceutics in 1982, reflecting the growing maturity of the discipline. At the same time, regulatory agencies started recognizing the value of quantitative modeling approaches in drug development. In 1989, the US Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, highlighted the importance of understanding PK and PD in elderly patients. Because collecting extensive data in every patient is often impractical, this encouraged the use of population-based approaches to understand variability from sparse clinical trial data. The 1990s marked another period of growth for pharmacometrics. Regulatory guidance supporting population analyses was issued in 1999, providing a formal framework for applying these methods in drug development. Around the same time, exposure response analyses became increasingly important, helping researchers better understand the relationship between drug exposure and clinical outcomes. Since the early 2000s, pharmacometrics has become an integral part of modern drug development. Today, pharmacometric models are routinely used to support clinical trial design, dose selection, regulatory submissions, product labeling, and many aspects of model-informed drug development. What began as a set of quantitative methods has evolved into a discipline that influences decisions throughout the entire drug development process. Now let's explore how pharmacometrics, particularly model-informed drug development, is applied across the different phases of clinical trials. Starting with the preclinical phase, during this stage, researchers seek to understand a drug's PK and PD properties using laboratory and animal studies. Here, pharmacometrics can be used to predict human PK and PD, optimize initial dosing strategies, and evaluate safety margins before the drug is tested in humans. Next is phase 1 clinical development. The primary objective here is to evaluate safety, tolerability, and initial PK and PD in healthy volunteers. During this phase, pharmacometric modeling can help identify appropriate dose ranges, characterize drug exposure, and support early dose escalation decisions. We then move to phase 2 clinical development, where the focus shifts toward evaluating efficacy while continuing to assess safety in patients. Here, pharmacometric approaches such as exposure response modeling, dose response analysis, and clinical trial simulation can help identify optimal dosing strategies and guide the design of phase 3 studies. Phase 3 clinical trials are designed to confirm efficacy and safety in larger patient populations. At this stage, pharmacometrics support population PK/PD analyses, subgroup evaluations, and simulation-based assessments that help strengthen regulatory submissions and labeling decisions. Finally, pharmacometrics continues to provide value even after approval during the post-marketing or phase 4 stage. These studies monitor how the drug performs in real-world clinical practice. Real-world data analyses, post-marketing surveillance studies, and benefit-risk assessments can all be supported by pharmacometric methods, helping ensure the safe and effective use of medicines throughout their life cycle. Let's wrap up with this question that I heard many times before. How does someone become a pharmacometrician? Let's start with educational background. There is no single degree required to become a pharmacometrician, and people enter the field through a variety of educational pathways. However, most pharmacometricians have an advanced degree, such as a master's degree or a PhD. These degrees are often in pharmacometrics, pharmaceutical sciences, engineering, mathematics, statistics, or other related disciplines. What these backgrounds typically have in common is a strong foundation in quantitative thinking and the life sciences. Let's now turn to the skills and knowledge needed to become a pharmacometrician. As we've already seen, pharmacometrics sits at the intersection of biology, medicine, mathematics, statistics, and computer science. As a result, pharmacometricians typically develop a diverse skill set that combines scientific understanding with quantitative and computational methods. Core skills include data analysis, mathematical and statistical modeling, critical thinking, and computer programming. These skills allow pharmacometricians to build models, analyze clinical data, and support decision making throughout drug development. One important technical skill is familiarity with pharmacometric software such as NumMem, which has been one of the most widely used tools for population PKPD modeling for several decades. Programming skills are also important, with languages such as R being widely used for data analysis, visualization, simulation, model diagnostics, and reporting. Many of these skills are developed through graduate education, research projects, and hands on experience working with real pharmacometric datasets and models. In addition to formal education and technical skills, continuous learning is an important part of a career in pharmacometrics. The field is constantly evolving, with new methodologies, software tools, and regulatory expectations emerging over time. Professional courses, workshops, and specialized training programs can help expand your knowledge and strengthen your skill set. It is also important to stay connected with the broader pharmacometrics community through conferences, seminars, scientific meetings, and professional organizations. These activities provide opportunities to learn about new developments, share experiences, build professional networks, and continue growing throughout your career. Practical experience is another important step toward becoming a pharmacometrician. While formal education provides the theoretical foundation, many of the most valuable skills are developed through hands on experience. This can come from research projects, internships, industry placements, or collaborative academic work. Working with real datasets and real modeling problems helps build experience in data analysis, model development, simulation, and interpretation of results. It also provides insight into the drug development process and practical challenges that pharmacometricians help address. Finally, networking and professional development can play an important role in building a successful career in pharmacometrics. The pharmacometrics community is highly collaborative, and many opportunities for learning and career growth come through interactions with other scientists and practitioners. Professional organizations such as the International Society for Pharmacometrics, or ISOP, provide valuable opportunities to learn, share knowledge, and stay current with developments in the field. Attending conferences, participating in workshops and focus groups, and building relationships with colleagues can help expand your professional network and open doors to new opportunities throughout your career. That brings us to the end of this introduction to pharmacometrics. Thank you for watching. I hope this overview has given you a better understanding of what pharmacometrics is, why it is important, and how it contributes to modern drug development and patient care. If this topic interests you, I encourage you to continue exploring the field through textbooks, scientific literature, professional organizations, and other educational resources. I've included a number of recommended resources in the video description to help you get started. There's always more to learn in the world of pharmacometrics, and I wish you the very best on your learning journey. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I'll be sharing more content on pharmacometrics, drug development, science, and mathematics, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching.